What's going on, guys? I wanted to bring on a very special guest. You guys probably know who he is. If you don't, you're living under a rock. John Wetmore with Agent Force Family First Life. I want to get into the nitty gritty of who John was beforehand. Everybody's probably watched your content. And for the folks that don't, I want them to know who you are. So maybe you can give us a little background story of who you were before you got into the insurance industry. What were you doing before that? What got you into the insurance industry? And just give us a little bit of a background story, if you will.
I feel like I've lived like 4 different lives. I have a hard time being like, what were you before? Dude, I was all kinds of stuff before. Because I've had to try to grow in life, figure things out. I had my first kid on the way at 16. Born to a teenage mom myself, single mom. So it was just like, we've been trying to figure out life for a couple generations, dude. And just kind of change the trajectory of the family. My mom started with that, trying to get us out of, I grew up like in the hood outside of Boston, just welfare kid, in the projects, legit. Mom got us out of there in 10th grade. And I had my first daughter on the way at 16. So I was paying daycare in high school, bro.
Damn.
Senior year, I had to do that thing where you like leave school early and go work. So I would I'd go work at a pizza joint, Little Caesars. I did that for like 4 years. And then I had a neighbor. I apologize. I got a little cough going on. I had a neighbor that worked in a warehouse, and he was making good money working at a warehouse at nights. So he got me a job there, making like 2.5 times what I was making at the pizza joint. I was like my first adult job. I was probably 20, 21. Didn't go to college out of high school. Just worked from 70 hours at the pizza joint to 70 hours at the warehouse. Did that for 4 years. About halfway through, dude, I realized that wasn't my path in life. So I went to school. I worked the warehouse at night, loading trucks and with like restaurant type food.
Yep.
And I went to school full time during the day. At this point, I had 2 kids. They were probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 and like 1 or 2-ish, something like that. And went to school for an accounting degree at a community college, local, about a 2-year accounting degree in probably 01. So maybe I was 24-ish, something like that, 24, 25. And then got my first like real job, desk job. I got an accounting job working for the government.
Very cool.
Doing books, making like $30,000 a year. And while I did that, it was like my first 9-to-5 job. So I went to school at night to get a finance degree. So I got my bachelor's degree in finance. Took me a few years to do that. I did it full time, but funny enough, I delayed getting my bachelor's because I didn't want to take my last class, which was public speaking. Yeah. And those that know me now, can you give me a cough drop, Amanda? Oh, she ain't up here. Those that know me now are like, dude, you don't know how to shut up when I'm talking. This will probably go long because I can't stop. But I put that off a couple years. I ended up finally doing it so I could get my degree. I think I finally got my degree in like 08, maybe. Bachelor's from a college that I had originally went to in New Hampshire. And then I got a job. I moved to Georgia, got a job here. The same position, but in Georgia, working for the government. And they paid $28,000 a year here. So I actually got 2 degrees, and I went backwards in pay twice. From the warehouse to northern government work to southern government work. And I'm like, golly.
Yeah, but I'm not working it in the warehouse. I'm sitting in a desk. That was
but I was broke, dude. I couldn't, thank you. I couldn't afford anything. At this point, dude, I got 4 kids now.
Oh, shit.
So I'm like 28, 29, 30, whatever. I got 4 kids. And so I get into the mortgage industry on the side, part-time. Interest rates were low as crap. My uncle was a cop, and he did mortgages on the side, so he got me into it. So I was like refinancing my coworkers, and I was making decent money for not knowing what the hell I was doing. So one day I, you know, on the job here, you have like a strict schedule, and I had to go to lunch at 12 on the dot, and I went early because I had to go to the bathroom, and I'm like, I'm hungry, so I went like 15 minutes early, and I got in trouble, and I didn't like that. So I got mad, and I'm like, I got this mortgage thing working out a little bit on the side, so I like, I don't know if you disappeared on my screen.
Yeah, I did.
Still here.
I'm still here.
So I get mad, and I very nicely told them to F off, and I walked out of my accounting job, and I started my mortgage career like that afternoon. And I did that for about 6 months. This was in about 06, end of 06, 07. I did that for like 6 or 9 months, made a few bucks, and then the world fell apart. So during that mortgage time, dude, it was the first time I was on commissions. It was my first time self-employed. I made fairly decent money relative to the 30 grand I was making.
Yeah.
So I went and bought a big house I couldn't afford. I bought a new car I couldn't afford. I rented my little tiny house. So I got 2 houses, 2 cars, and the economy fell apart. And I had it all financed. So I had like obscene amounts of debt. The mortgage company went away overnight because all the banks closed. And that year I lost 2 houses, got my car repoed, had to file bankruptcy, and went through a divorce, all in like 08, 09 time frame. And went back to accounting, dude, after doing some like crazy, like I was in a call center for a while. I did taxes. I was just trying to get paid, dude.
Yeah.
Actually fell into accounting. So everybody knows me as an accountant. So during that chaos, I fell back into an accounting job making 40 grand a year. And I did that for 4 years. That brought me to 12 when I got introduced to 2012, when I got introduced to the mortgage business as another part-time gig, dude.
Very cool. Very cool.
So that's kind of the journey, man. I've had probably 25 jobs in my career, honestly.
Wow. Wow. So people probably see you now as this very successful, speaking on stage at massive FFL conventions, very successful insurance agent, but it's been a long road of multiple different throwing shit at the wall, and hopefully it sticks, and then running with what stuck. So maybe you can go into some of the accomplishments and fast forward into when you got into the insurance space. And then maybe, give us some of your accolades, some of the things you've been able to accomplish while now in insurance. And we'll go from there.
Yeah, dude. So I started insurance. A buddy reached out to me on Facebook. He knew me I actually hired him in the mortgage industry. So he says, hey, dude, it's been a while. We hadn't talked in like 4 years. Hits me up. He's like, hey, bro, what are you up to? I know you're miserable on your job, whatever you're doing. I fell into this industry. I met a guy who you remind me of. I feel like it'd be something for you. Are you open? I call him and I'm like, what's up, dude? He tells me it's insurance. And I'm like, nah, bro, I tried that. And funny enough, I got my license 2 years earlier because I got introduced to mortgage protection. And being in the mortgage industry previously, I was like, oh, that can kind of make sense. And I dialed leads once, dude, one day. I literally dialed once for like 30 minutes. Got hung up on a handful of times, and I quit. Let my license expire 2 years later, and that's when he called me. And I was like, nah, dude, I tried that thing. But I listened to him, and he actually did it differently than most, and he introduced the business to me in the sense that you can sell, but he introduced me to some people having success selling. But further, he related the business side of insurance to what I understood about the mortgage business, which is very similar in concept. You get commissions, but I can hire you, get a spread, and when you close a loan, I make a little piece. It works the same way in mortgages. So I understood that, and I'm like, dang. So he kind of taught me structure, how to build, showed me some people doing really well on the building side. And dude, from there I was like, all right, I'll try it. I'm in. So I did it part-time on the side for about a year. So I didn't make the same stupid mistake I made in the mortgage industry, just walking out of my job one day. I wanted to kind of get a grip on it. And I did fairly well, dude. I made part-time in a really I apologize for people watching. I'm just gonna die this whole conversation. I've been like this for about a week. But about part-time in a really low comp environment. It was pre-FFL, before FFL existed. I made about 60 grand part-time, dude. I saved all the money, minus lead expense. So I probably put 40 grand in the bank. In summer 2013, I told my job I'm done. And I went full-time into the mortgage industry, into the insurance industry. And FFL started 3 months later. And the hierarchy I'm in was friends with Sean Mike. So he went to start with Sean FFL right away. So I went with him. So I've been with FFL since day one. I wasn't involved in like opening it. I didn't know anything. I wasn't like one of their guys. I was just here. Just coincidentally, hierarchy was here day one. So I was here day one by default. And dude, it's been a journey since. I certainly struggled with sales. I struggled with communicating. I struggled with clients. I struggled with understanding lead flow. I struggled understanding lead strategy, understanding the mindset behind leads, that they're no magic ones and it's kind of a numbers game of the whole thing. I was super emotional about results day to day. And that took me about another year to really get my grips on the business, man. And 2015, dude, it all sort of aligned in life. I had some financial stuff in life I was sort of frustrated by. I had met some people in the business that were really killing it, that started to mentor me, give me some direction, be honest with me about where I was at as a person, as a professional in the business, kind of let me know I wasn't putting in the effort that was required to live the lifestyle I said I wanted to live. And just timing, man. Early 2015, I just made a decision that I wanted to go out and change my life, bro. And my kids' lives. I had 5 kids at this point. I still do. I tapped out after 5. And 2015, man, I issued like 460 on my own pen. Made, multiple 6 figures for the first time in my life. I don't know anyone in my family that's ever made that. And dude, it's been literally like a rocket to the moon since 2015. The last, 8 years now, has been like straight uphill for 8. I mean, not even uphill, like a rocket for 8 straight years, dude. Ooh, I can't hear you if you're talking. Your sound's out.
And you mentioned that the catalyst was the mentorship that you had taken. What's the importance of finding a mentor like that?
Yeah, dude.
And you mentioned a couple sentences before that you had some struggles with lead strategies, with just some system strategies. What were some of those struggles in more detail, if you could, for the audience? And if they're currently going through those struggles, maybe what's one thing that's been able to shift out of that? And then talk about that mentorship and what the importance is there.
Yeah, I think the mentorship, to be honest, dude, although it's crazy important, I believe it's only as good as what you do with the information.
For sure.
Because they weren't really mentors to me until I started putting in the action of the basic level stuff they were saying. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They were giving me elementary direction, dude. High activity, the right mindset, continuing to get better every day, seeking correction throughout the process versus kind of like staying to yourself when you make a mistake. Yeah. It was like taking ownership for stuff. They were giving that as like generic level training, dude, which there's a million people that train on that stuff. Those are kind of like, as I know now, relatively universal principles for success in sales. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
What happened, man, is when I started seeing some success from it, I would go to these guys and give my appreciation for the message they were giving, because they didn't have to be giving it. I've learned, you know what I mean? They could have just stayed in their own honey hole and made 6 figures a year with no training.
Yeah.
Without doing trainings.
Yeah.
So I would go back to these guys and be like, dude, I appreciate the messages you're giving. I put this in place A, B, and C, and it worked for me too. So thank you. And that I learned excited the people that were given the information, man. And the more I started performing and putting in the actions that they were advising, the more they wanted to pour into me because it became easy. I became easy for them. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't like friction in their world.
Yeah.
So it became insanely important. But I had to, again, if my view wasn't correct of it, and I wasn't putting in the action and I wasn't grateful for it, dude, I wouldn't have had the mentorship, what became mentorship. So that was insanely important in my life. And I went out of my way to have quite a few people that I could get perspective from. I think learning from multiple people helps. Learning how to take the good from some people and ignore the bad, things you don't like, whatever. And I always suggest if people are learning from just me, they're probably in trouble. They should probably learn from a bunch of people, you know?
Yeah.
And I would say for me, dude, in terms of leads and strategy, I've learned there's only, and what's weird, dude, as you know, some people don't believe in leads in this business. They think it's a scam. They think it's like a waste of money. You know what I mean? Like, and I've learned, dude, there's only a couple ways to get clients. It's like, you can go out and cold call, bug your friends and family, or do some kind of like cultivation of business.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Build it, banging on doors, going to, you know, local meetings, whatever you do, whatever those guys do. I'm like, that ain't me. I'm not wired that way. I have no desire to do that. I'll pay for convenience, dude.
Yeah.
So what I had to learn was that there's a game to leads, and it's a lot like sports. Baseball's probably the best analogy. Mm-hmm. You know, you strike out or get out some way or form or fashion or another 7 out of 10 times. Dude, you can have a Hall of Fame career if you do that for enough straight years in baseball. You know what I mean? You literally have a 70% failure rate, and you're one of the best on the planet.
Yeah.
And although they get frustrated in the moment, and although they try to get better, none of them are trying to go 10 for 10.
Exactly.
There's not a baseball player on the planet that's trying to, I think the best one ever went, 4 for 10, right? Like once in the history of time. So it's like they expect a majority of the time to fail, if you will. Mm-hmm. That's common knowledge. So they accept. Again, we do try to get better and figure out what I could have tweaked in that moment, but we know over the course of time, dude, I'm not going to beat those stats. The averages are what they are. So when I looked at my lead flow over the first 2+ years in the business, I looked at my spend, I looked at my activity, and I looked at the deposits, the result. I literally took the activity and I divided it, and I don't know which way I took like the deposits, and I said, how much activity did I do? And I just divided one by the other. And I came up with how much I made per dial and how much I made per booked appointment. It's very basic math. You know what I mean? X number of appointments, X number of dollars. It was really simple. And dude, at that time, again, very low comp situation at the time, part-time, mediocre in the business. The math came to like $17 every time I dialed a client. It didn't matter if they picked up, hung up on me, told me to F off, booked them, didn't book them. It didn't matter. The X number of dials and X number of deposits equaled this. And then appointments, every time I booked one, it came out to about $300 an AP, regardless of outcome, including chargebacks, including follow-off, including all the stuff, big ones, little ones. You know what I mean? Like ones that said they'd call me next Tuesday, a big annuity, a $12 app, a kid's app, all of it factored in. And dude, it was like a crazy epiphany, because if you told me I could make $17 every time I called anyone on the planet, I would call them 12,000 times a day. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't care.
This is something we put the training out there for some of our clients too, is to gamify it, right?
Yeah.
You've done an amazing job of getting each dial is now $1 in your head, not depending on whatever it happens. It doesn't matter. And a lot of agents, this is one of our biggest struggle as a lead vendor and as a call center, is because we'll have agents that come in, do fantastic, and then leave, or we'll have agents that come in and do so hot.
Yeah.
And it's because maybe they had one day or 1 week where it's terrible, and that's just going to happen with everything, right?
Yeah.
There's never
0 for 12 in a baseball series.
Exactly,
Like
right?
it happens.
And it happens. But
Yeah.
the agent that feels the most, and I think this is common knowledge at this point, but it's truthfully that, like, as you say, it's gamifying that so you don't get in the ins and outs of your day, because you're going to have shit weeks, you're going to have shit days, but you're going to have good weeks and you're going to have good days, right? And if you just keep a monotone approach and just gamify the little things and break it down to a cost per call, like money you're making, it makes it a lot easier and you don't get that burnout. And it doesn't come out on the phones, which we see a lot is,
Correct.
you know, if you've had 2 to 3 bad days, it is coming out on your calls.
Yeah.
And you're like, you're now an asshole to the calls. We actually had to remove a client 2 days ago, and with no names, but we had to remove a client 2 days ago because he had two bad days, and then told the people, "Thanks for wasting my fucking time." Like, click, you're done. Like, we're not working together anymore. But that's just an actual case study of, there's a lot of agents out there that still get frustrated on the ins and outs of your day. Really, you need to gamify it so you can get to that point. Sorry, but we're on the same wavelength. I wanted to add my piece.
That was me for the first couple of years, dude. I used to argue with clients. Like, by default, I'm pretty emotional. Like, I can just, like, the way I'm wired, I can be kind of negative. Yeah. I'm not like naturally a glass half full kind of guy by default. I'm one to kind of jump the gun emotionally, kind of, you know what I mean? Get frustrated pretty easily by default. So at the beginning, dude, I would argue with leads on the phone, trying to think it would, like, do something. And I'd have to, like, get at them, like, get a dig in to make myself feel good. It was weird, man. You know, and
why'd you fill out the form in the first place? You know?
Correct. Yeah. I was that guy. So I can understand. But again, if you take a step back, like, relatively common sense, logically, that makes no sense in any situation. Mm-hmm. You know, and then for someone to blame the lead when you're acting like an a-hole on the phone, mm-hmm. you're really not giving yourself that many shots at anything.
Yeah.
Dude, I've spoken at this point, as you know, thousands and thousands, obscene numbers of agents. And if you really, the best thing I ever did for my career, bro, is I went back to my warehouse and call center days, and in that I was tracked activity-wise on the job.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I had to put so many boxes per hour in a truck. I had to have so many calls per hour in the call center, or else I got fired.
Yep.
And I had performance metrics to meet.
Yep.
And in my early part of my career, dude, I was making $100, $150 a week, thinking I was full time. And if you start to put metrics on that, if me and you are racing and we're like, how quick can you make $150? Dude, I can do it in well under 3 hours. Well under 3 hours. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I'm putting 3 hours a week into a career and yet selling myself that I should have these expectations of crazy success, and it's the lead's fault because I'm not rich on 3 hours of input. You know what I mean? And I'm like, dude. So I came up with metrics where I said I was going to get to 40 hours in a way that I only counted the timer from John Wetmore became when I'm sitting at a kitchen table. Now, in today's world of virtual, all good, same concept. Just take what I'm saying and apply it to your world.
Yep.
So, like, driving to the client's house didn't count. Calling carriers didn't count. Printing leads didn't count. Like, all studying, watching stuff like this, that didn't count towards my 40-hour timer. Literally sitting in homes presenting, physically dialing the phone. So I gave myself credit for 1 hour per presentation. That was going to be, so if I made 20 of those a week, it's 20 hours.
Yep.
I gave myself credit for 1 minute per dial. So every 60 dials would be an hour. Does that make sense? So if I make 600, right, that's 10 hours. So 20 appointments and 600 dials, that's still part-time. It's only 30 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's where recruiting came into me. So I had these metrics where I was going to hit 40 hours on the phone and in homes, period, before I judged anything result-wise. You know, so I started judging myself on the activity side, on the front end. And if I didn't put in 40 hours on the front end based on my new metrics, that's what I got frustrated by now. I got frustrated I didn't order enough leads. I got frustrated I didn't.
Oh, we lost you. Just froze on us.
No, I got you. You hear me good now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
No,
yeah, so I started getting frustrated on the activity side.
Yeah.
Like I used to get frustrated on the result side.
Did you also used to get frustrated, and I just did a training on this like a week ago, so it's kind of fresh on topic. Do you find yourself as a newer agent where you're struggling with just getting a person on the phone and typically not taking enough time to know if this person's willing to buy or et cetera, and then the understanding of, see, I try to tell our agents, like, nobody wakes up in the morning looking for life insurance, right? Yeah. So we can't expect them to know what they want when they get on the phone. Did you ever have a struggle with when you got people on the phone and they might not have been overly interested? Was there a, how do I put this? Was there a length in time that took for you to learn how to overcome those objections and get through that wall? And then was that a big struggle for you as a new agent as well?
Yeah, bro. When I first started dialing, dude, I used to ask all the medical questions on the phone so I could price it before I got to their house. Because I thought that was smart. You know what I'm saying?
It's efficient, but not effective.
It's not efficient at all, because I'd be asking people medical questions and like diabetes would come up and they'd freak out and get off the phone. Because I'd be like, well, are you on insulin or just the pill? How long have you had it? Do you have like neuropathy? Do you have and dude, I'd scare them.
Yeah.
So what I really learned to do was to my only goal on the phone first became to get people to pick up, period. So I have videos out there on how I dial. You can literally Google it, John Wetmore, how to dial. Some people, I'll put a link. I'll send it to you. I'll legit put a link.
Perfect.
And it's, for me, it became about odds. Like if I do this versus this, and Vegas odds makers were putting odds on which way I did it, which one would win, right? And I removed the frustration. And, people go like, what if they're mad? What if I bug them? And they do these and we do this in every situation. We go, what if, and then we put a negative to it. And I don't think anyone's confused that you're making that up. It's a made up scenario in your head, right? The what if, whatever you say after that's made up. So I'm like, why don't you go what if positive? Like if you're going to make something up, why not make up something good? Like what if the 9th dial, because people think I'm like aggressive. I'm like, I mean, what if the 9th dial got them to pick up and prevented them from getting in their car and getting hit by a bus that morning? Like what if, you know what I'm saying? Like what if me calling them more than you, getting told no, and then going door knocking them? What if I run into the husband instead of the wife today and he says, yeah, come on in, and they get coverage and I found out they had an accidental and not a permanent, and I'm the solution to their problem? Like, why not that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I started approaching it to like, let me get them to pick up first. That's by far the number. I just got to get them on the phone. And then when I get them on the phone, dude, all I got to do is book an appointment. That's it. Nothing else. I don't care what they say. I just need them to say, yes, you can come over. Period. Because when I get in the house, then I can do the work. And I've learned, dude, here's the analogy I always make. People are very different in a couple situations in life. Behind the wheel, driving in the car, people are psychopaths. Fair? Like our natural personalities to how we interact with other human beings all goes out the window when we're in their car.
Yeah.
Right? We turn into lunatics.
For sure.
Right? Yet imagine if, I always say this, like imagine if you're in the grocery store, and this has happened to all of us. You're coming down the cereal aisle and they're coming down the milk aisle and y'all almost bump into each other. What do they say every time?
I'm Canadian, so we always say sorry.
Correct. Right? It's either excuse me, sorry. It's something like that. 100% of the time, dude. But if that same scenario, you're rolling through the stop sign, they don't have, in that almost in a car, now what happens?
Fuck you.
Correct. There's never excuse me, sorry anymore. Dude, the other scenario where people are crazy is on the phone.
Yeah.
Their natural personality is different on the phone, and I understand that dynamic. So I'm not trying to, I just don't get emotional about it, dude. I pretend it's like being on the interstate and they're just out of sorts. And I know when I get them in person, they're not going to be as aggressive in person as they are on the phone. They're going to go to their natural personality, like we're in the grocery store.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I just go like, let me get in front of them, dude. And I change my entire tonality. I don't need to be the, corny insurance guy. I try to be like that, like and we don't do this. I don't really sell these types of policies, but like the fully underwritten stuff.
Yeah.
Where the paramed has to come out.
Yep.
And like, hey, Chase, I'm the guy that they got to send over to do your blood and urine. And you're just like, okay. And I'm like, all right, I'll see you tomorrow. What time you home? I can do here or here. Like, just, they're sending me.
Yeah.
Not like, hey, man, I'd really love to come over and sit with your family and give you a quote.
You're
and
asking
check
permission.
out your, yeah, I'm just the dipshit they send over.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that mentality for me, dude, changed my whole career. Because I kind of broke everything up into segments. And I'm a different person. I'm a different personality. There's a different approach based on where I'm at in the process.
Exactly.
And that's probably what really changed the game for me, combined with the numbers, is understanding the psychology of people and how to approach it properly, in effort. And people go, you're manipulating them. Yes, into protecting their family. 100% I am.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because I always say, if someone died, dude, right? Yep. And they see, we go like, they're not dead. I'm aggressive on the phone. You're not. They're going to be, quote unquote, mad at me and okay with you. Mm-hmm. Let's fast forward. And like those movies that have two endings? Or the old school books when we were kids and you can pick an ending?
Yeah.
Let's pretend someone dies. Okay? And then they can go back in time and be like, Wetmore called aggressively, the way I'm explaining, I'm doing what I'm doing to get in front of them. And then you called non-aggressively. You didn't get them coverage. I got them coverage. You didn't get them coverage. Who are they mad at now? Me for calling aggressively or you for being nice?
Me for being nice.
100%. They're pissed, dude.
Because you as the insurance agent are the expert and you should be able to provide them with the solution that they need, not what they want or how they feel like they want to go about it, right?
Can you imagine if like Elon Musk could come up with some kind of AI virtual something that could see, dude, there are people that are watching this that have wussed out calling someone.
Yeah.
They've just got in their own head, said, what if negative? They get mad at me. They do this. I don't approach sales that way. That's not appropriate. Right? Yeah. There's someone that you didn't get a hold of that's dead today.
Yeah.
And you could have got a hold of them. Dude, I don't care what people say I'm trying to take care of people, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think going even back to that, a lot of people, you used to go through just the medical questions. For us and transfers, we train agents, hey, only ask pertinent questions after 15 to 20 minutes of you actually speaking with the person. Get to know their why. Do they even know how life insurance works? Yeah. A lot of insurance agents fail to even just ask that question. Do you know how life insurance works? Because that opens it up. Like, you get their knowledge base, etc. And a lot of people just go straight, even if they're doing a telesale. So say they schedule an appointment, they get the person on the phone, it's a virtual appointment. They'll just go straight into the application process. But by the time you get to giving them the price, a lot of the times they'll just be like, yeah, I'm good. Because you didn't get their why, you didn't understand, or you didn't give a shit.
Correct.
Like really, a lot of agents, I think what happens is you've gamified it too much, right? Like you're not, you're forgetting to actually give a shit about the prospect.
Yeah. There is a point to do that. Right? That's those kind of segments I'm talking about.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like, all right, now I got to be real life. In this moment, I gotta change. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And even with SMS, so for us, we send out significant amount of SMS text messages. Right. We do not bring up anything to do with the offer, anything to do with the marketing. The whole entire purpose of SMS is to generate a response. Once you generate a response, the goal is to get that person on the phone.
Yeah.
Then schedule a secondary call where you can have a conversation, or go through the call, then start to build some rapport if you're going to try to one call close the person. But depending on your sales process, it's exactly that. Keeping the different steps. I love that. I love that.
Yeah, and again, everything I'm saying, dude, I grew up in a field. I'm a field guy. I haven't been in the field in 6 years. You know what I mean? I haven't sold a policy. So I'm not, like, I had a guy call me last night and go, what does MetLife do? I'm like, dude, I have no idea. That's not my expertise today. You know, but what I want to tell you guys is, like, take the concepts I'm saying and apply them to your current situation.
Yes.
These concepts can apply to one call closes. They can apply to telesales, Zoom sales. They can, all this, the principles of what I'm saying are what's most important. Yes. Don't get stuck in, like, yeah, but you did it that way, I do it this way. Dude, there's someone having success in your current way at your current company with the leads you currently buy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they're bound to be doing something different if you're not having success than they are. So it's like, figure that out. You know, and those of us that have our head on a swivel and understand how to evolve with the industry tend to do the best, you know?
So I have just one more piece that I would like to touch on, because you do a lot of content. I love watching your content. Maybe touch on the importance of your content and what it's done for your business, and is it, you know, a key aspect to your growth of your business?
Yeah, man, it is, dude. Funny enough, we had you mentioned accolades, which I always ignore because it's not my favorite thing to talk about. But, you know, yesterday what's today? We're recording this. Is today Monday? No, today's Tuesday, I think. I don't even know what day it is, bro.
Tuesday. Convention.
yeah. So convention, we had our awards Saturday, and I got an award, like a recruiting award. The second recruiter. You know, they gave awards to the top 3 recruiters in the country, so I was second. And you know, it's got to be related, dude. I do more content. The only one that I know that does more content is the guy that won first place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's certainly related. I think, you know, for me, dude, I'm doing it for multiple reasons. I do get a lot of good feedback at every event I go to, that people appreciate it. And people either love or hate my style, which I'm okay with.
Yeah.
You know, you know, it is what it is. So again, I love that everywhere I go, because this isn't me by default. I don't go like, I want to make a bunch of content and be on the internet. Like, I avoided social media for like 5 years in the business. But when I learned how much it helps people that I don't know, you know what I mean, at different events that I have people thank me for putting stuff out and how they've taken things and applied it and had success in their career and their business and it's changed their world. I'm like, dude, I got to keep doing it.
Yeah.
I think from a straight business standpoint, certainly the amount of content I have validates a lot of the things we're doing. You know, when people look me up, is probably one of the first things they like. If I'm trying to recruit someone now and they don't already follow me, they don't give 2 craps what I have to say. Yeah. You know what I mean? That levels of leadership, dude. I could be the janitor for all they know. Mm-hmm. So what I've learned is to create kind of this resume or storyboard, if you will, of content. I know that people look me up when we DM them or hit them on social.
Fame is the best business model, truthfully, marketing model, whatever you have, because it, you know, the amount of authority that you already have built in the space is truly amazing. I'm excited to see where you go in future years, man. And I'm lucky to have met you, and hopefully we can continue to be on the sidelines and watch you grow and remain great Facebook buds and have you back on here in the future. One question that I'm going to ask you before we wrap it up, because I know you have a crazy busy day. Worst advice you've ever received and the best advice you've ever received?
That's a good question, dude. Worst advice, dude, that you need money to make money is my least favorite piece of advice on the planet.
Love it.
Now, I do believe money can help you make more, but I don't believe you need any to get started, because I didn't have any. You know what I'm saying? I think that's BS. Best advice, man. Oh, God, I've received so much advice.
Mm-hmm. I know it's tricky.
I'm gonna give you 2.
On this one too.
I'm gonna give you 2 that are come right to my head, because they're both coming up, and I'm like, which one do I share? So they're gonna get 2.
Awesome.
Early on in my career, someone once asked me, and I don't know if this is advice, but I took it as advice.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Why do you expect my result with your work ethic?" So I took that to heart. Call it advice, call it not, but it, when I looked at the work and then in a very similar parallel, my closest mentor, his name is Mike Killimet. That was from my buddy Mark Mead, who's really big in the space. My buddy Mike Killimet once said, "If you want to get paid like a professional, you better act like a professional." You know what I mean? Every day. And dude, I see a lot of people trying to make professional type money, and they like dabble at this, dude.
Yeah.
They dip their toe in, or they give it 2 months.
So,
you
actually, and I know you got to go, but there's one thing I meant to bring up.
Let's go.
You mentioned in one of your posts recently, you're like, you got to just turn it on. And it's not like every day you're going to walk around and just be on, like selling.
Yeah.
You're actually on. There's a lot of people that feel they can't be that salesperson. They're not that guy. But you mentioned the play and Broadway. These guys have their own personal lives, this own shit to deal with, and they come and they put on every night. Yeah. And truthfully, I resonated with that so much because not business was not something that I naturally figured out. It was something I just had to kind of fake it till you make it in the beginnings, right? It's almost like you just have to be on, and eventually you adapt, you learn, and that on button comes a lot easier. Yeah. The only problem I have is shutting it off sometimes.
Same, dude.
But maybe you could just touch on that, being on and what that's helped you do and your philosophy around it.
I always say, like, people make a lot of excuses, and they use life's problems to validate why they don't perform at a high level, or why they didn't make dials this week, or why they didn't work this week, or why they didn't do whatever they said. Like, I was so excited this week. It kind of hit me at the gym. Like, we're back to normal attendance. All the people that pretended they were going to get in shape this year, dude, it's like the first week, they're already gone. I'm like so excited, dude. All my equipment's back. You know what I mean? I can get what I need when I need it. There's not as many people in the sauna. It's dope. So I'm like, thank you. I wish y'all would just stay out of the gym in January too.
Love it.
But I think for me, dude, where it makes the most, it's like athletes, for instance. And you can say, I always relate the play thing, the Broadway thing, because those people definitely have life going on. And think about how many stories, if you watch sports, to where somebody's loved one died and they still play like that day or the next day.
And it's like their best game.
Correct. You know what I mean? And you go, is it right? Is it wrong? I'm not here to argue that. I'm just telling you what's possible.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? If you want to be off, be off. All good. But I'm just saying, dude, there's possibilities beyond what you believe currently, And when you watch someone on Broadway, dude, do you not think they have life's issues going on? And what I love about that analogy is they perform live many times twice a day for like months on end. Like we saw Hamilton, which I think 3 times. And I'm not a play guy. I don't like actually enjoy them. But like Hamilton, dude, they did it in rap. I'm from the hood. I'm like, I can watch this one. I liked it. But I remember there was an issue with one of the main stars. Like he had some stuff going in life. But the second he gets on stage, dude, he turns that switch on and the rest of life turns off. Mm-hmm. In fact, the thing that I always say the most is you as a consumer of their content, their professionalism, you expect them to turn life off to perform for you. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Imagine they let life's issues go on and they're like, you know what? I'm actually having a really bad day. Dude, I'm going to end the play now. My grandma has a barbecue. I haven't seen her in like a week. She's sick. My daughter's not feeling good. Can we just shut the play down and y'all go home? Yeah. Like you would lose your ever loving mind if someone did that to you. Yet we do it to ourselves every day.
Every day.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude. And
I'm not perfect. I am not perfect. I tried to find, but where's that fine line of what's overly personal, like personal, funeral. I get it. And then you start to, as a business owner, you get too far deep into that. Am I a narcissist for not shutting off? Right? Like,
Again,
and you have to find that balance.
Everybody do you.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? It's just like, but think about the things, dude, that we let get in the way.
Yeah.
I was tired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I had to do whatever. I got
20 minutes before this podcast, I was locked out of the office. I was like, should I just call him, see if I can push it back? I'm like, no, I'll get it.
Human, dude.
You made it happen.
Yeah. And the biggest place I always make it to, which is a funny thing, this industry is so intriguing to me, the psychology of it.
Mm.
You can take that to another level because that's like beginner level stuff. You know what I mean? People that are off almost all the time, teaching them to turn on more often.
Mm-hmm.
But then you take the guy, this is what really changed the growth side of my career, the building side, the recruiting side. I was in a groove sales-wise where I understood all this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Numbers thing, take the emotion out, go into a house, control it. They don't see my frustrations. They don't see life going on. If they throw me a curveball, I can keep my game face on. And you know what I mean? Like I can navigate that at a high level. Make multi-six figures selling on my own pen. Relatively easy, dude. It got to a point where it was relatively easy. And then I would leave the house and I'd get into a recruiting environment, right? An agent training environment. Another agent struggling. And dude, all that control would go out the window. You know what I mean? I didn't have like the dynamic personality with agent A versus agent B. I'd treat them all the same. I'd get frustrated when they didn't do A, B, or C. You know what I mean? Like they would see my weaknesses.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I'm in Mary's house and I'm on. I leave Mary's house and I turn off.
Yeah.
It was really weird, dude, when that kind of hit me. And there's a lot of really good high-end salespeople that, like me, suck at working with the average agent because they turn off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, there's a lot of y'all that have the skill set already. You just don't realize you're turning it off.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like when I realized how similar kind of the business side was to to the individual sales side, dude, this thing blew up, bro. You know, and now fast forward today, we had, dude, I looked at a report yesterday. It's crazy. We had 1,800 agents sell a policy last month. We had over 4,000 agents sell a policy last year. And we issued like 116,000 applications in 2022.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Jeez.
In 8 years.
Like a moment of silence, please.
Yeah. And dude, I have a lot of help. I get way more credit and accolades than I deserve, to be honest. I got the ball rolling, sure. You know, and I do my best to help people, but I have like ridiculously good people around me, great recruiters, great agents, there's so many. I'm surrounded by great staff, support team, core, you know what I mean? Like, that's why I get weird about it.
Sorry to cut you off. What's one thing that you look for in your core? A character trait, etc. When you're hiring somebody in to really take maybe a big leg of the company, or is going up the ranks, and what does that person need to be spotted by you to be a massive core in your company?
I have this saying that I call like, who stands out. So instead of trying to, like, you kind of even worded it in a way that it's implied that I can take you and make you a big leg.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Like that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Like you're either going to stand out and put in the work or you're not. You know, and you don't have to be a rock star. But for me, I'm looking for who stands out relative to the average crowd.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And the specific things I'm looking for when I'm recruiting someone on a base level is they got to be coachable. They got to do the things they say they're going to do. And if they can't do number two, I need them to communicate with me. If you give me those three, coachable, do what you say you're going to do, whatever that is in your world, coachable, do the things you say you're going to do. And if you can't do what you say you're going to do, communicate. I will never get frustrated. right? And if you don't do those 3 things, I'm going to quit you before you quit me. For sure.
Awesome.
Right? And then if you're doing those 3, I'm trying to pay attention. If I have 10, think if you, wherever you are in the space, any career, really, any business, take your top 5, your top 10, your 20 guys, 50 guys, 1,000, whatever you got, and go, who stands out? Dude, you know it like this. There's always one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Right? So at whatever phase I'm at in business, I'm like, who stands out from the crowd? And I get a little closer to them. And I start to see if I can challenge them. I start to see if they want to sacrifice things, if they're willing to work more, if they're willing to take direction, be coachable. You know what I mean? I try to dig a little deeper. You go like, hey, come over here. You know? And that's kind of been the strategy. And
love it.
You know, it keeps me at peace, and it lets me work. I've learned, this is the last, I'll end with this. And this is if I had to ask to add to the question about the best piece of advice, same dude, Kilmet, I think he stole it from John Maxwell, I believe. He said, leadership is taken, not given. So I look for people that are trying to take leadership roles, and I help them acquire that. You know, and try to teach them based on my mistakes how to achieve things quicker than I did.
But even for us, like, we look at people that are going to be a leader in every single role that they take on. Right? Not just waiting for that title to become the leader.
Correct.
Doing it every step of the way.
Right? It's taken.
It's,
I don't give you a title and then you lead. You lead and then we give you a fancy title.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So
awesome. So, man, for the people that have listened to this and they're like, shit, I want to work with John. I need to work with John. How do they get a hold of you? How do they get in touch? And we'll make sure we put the links in the bottom.
Yeah. So you can all my stuff is always on johnwetmore.com, which is W-E-T. You'll spell it. Everyone always spells it wrong, which is weird because it's, as you'll say, it's spelled just like it sounds. You know. But johnwetmore.com has links to everything. I'm personally on Instagram and Facebook every day. Like, I actually check my own stuff. Instagram is John Wetmore 347, and then Facebook, I don't even know how it works, but I think you just put John Wetmore. I think it's just at John Wetmore.
Yeah,
that's how it works, I believe.
I'll definitely put all the tags in the bottom of the video here.
Yep. So anything I do to help or follow my stuff, or even if you work somewhere else, dude, take it, steal it, and implement it. I don't care. I'm just trying to help people, bro.
I love it. Well, John, I really, really, really appreciate you coming on, man. It's been an absolute blast.
You got it, dude.
But I'll let you get back to the massive agency that you're currently running and the day-to-days that you got to deal with. But for anybody that's, you know, looking to get in touch, I'll make sure we have the links below. Until then, man, until next time, we'll see you later.
Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate having me on. Later.
Cheers.